Hello again, everyone. This week I'm going to be talking about Milwaukee sports teams. So I'm going to be talking about the Bucks, who are currently in a tough playoff series with the Bulls. They brought it back to 3-2. And then I'm also going to be talking about the Brewers in the MLB, who are off to a tough start to their season. But first, I'm going to stop in the NFL and talk about the Green Bay Packers. So last year, the Packers had a 12-4 record, playing in a tough division in the NFC North with the Bears, Lions, and Vikings. Last year, the Bears 5-11, the Vikings 7-9, and the Lions 11-5. So the Lions were kind of the team that were fighting to get that division title with the Packers. Lions obviously a lot different defensive line this year, so we'll see if they can have the same success they have in the past. The Vikings are starting to turn it around, as are the Bears, but I do still think the Packers have the talent to win the division and possibly have a 12-4 season again, at bare minimum, at least a 10-6. So I'm going to start with the offense, looking at Aaron Rodgers, obviously the quarterback, 4,381 yards with 38 touchdowns and only 5 picks last year, which is really impressive. Over the course of his career, he's a 65.8% completion percentage, which is really good. As I've said in the past, anytime a quarterback can have their completion percentage anything close to 66 or 2/3 of the time, that's solid, and that's what he is as a career quarterback. His career reception completion percentage is 65.8%. So I stumbled over my words there. I apologize for that. He's also got 28,578 career yards. So he's only 1,422 yards away from the 30,000 career plateau, which I think he'll get. I'm going to say week 6. By week 6, he'll reach that mark. Again, barring injury and staying healthy and all that kind of stuff, I'll say he gets there by week 6. He's also got 226 career touchdowns, so he's only 24 away from 250 career touchdowns. Last year, he had 38 touchdowns, so there's no reason that I don't think he could have 24 this year. So Rodgers this season is going to reach two big milestones with 30,000 career passing yards as well as 250 career touchdowns. He's also a career 106 quarterback rating, which is really impressive. Anytime a quarterback can have a rating over 100, that's solid. That's what you want out of a star quarterback. That's what you want out of a franchise quarterback. And the Packers definitely did things right with Rodgers when they drafted him. Let him learn from Favre for a couple of years before you hand him over the ball. It takes the pressure off. It lets him learn your playbook, build some chemistry with the other players on the team, get to know the coaching staff, and then when you give him the ball, he's going to find success, and he has. It helps to be a great quarterback, and a great quarterback's going to have a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns if he's got good players around him, and Rodgers definitely does for sure. When you look at their receivers, you got Randall Cobb and Jordy Nelson. Cobb last year, 91 receptions, 1,287 yards, 12 touchdowns. Jordy Nelson had 98 receptions with just over 1,500 yards and 13 touchdowns. So you got a 1-2 punch in your receiving core with those two guys that can lead to success for a lot of years. Again, barring injury and that they stay healthy, they're going to do that. It forces defenses to not have the opportunity to double team a guy. And it puts defenses in tough positions where you might have to have linebackers trying to cover these guys, and that's tough to do because they got the speed. And generally speaking, linebackers covering receivers, a receiver's going to win that battle 9 out of 10 times. It's also important to have some solid tight ends for receiving options, and with Corliss and Rodgers in the tight end positions, they have that. Corliss last year, 29 receptions, 323 yards. Rodgers, 20 receptions, 225 yards. They combined for 5 touchdowns between the two of them. So it just gives you another option in your receiving package outside of the wide receivers to have tight ends that can get off the line and, gives you more reads, especially when you get down into the red zone. Those are kind of the players you're going to look at who can maybe grab a reception here or there for you. Looking at the running backs, obviously Eddie Lacy and Starks. First starting with Lacy last year, 246 rushing attempts for 1,139 yards with 9 touchdowns. That gives him an average of 4.6 yards per carry. And anytime a running back can average more than 4 yards a carry, that's what you're looking for in a running back and your number one running back, and Lacy does that for you. Starks had 85 rushing attempts for 333 yards with a couple touchdowns himself, and he has the 3.9 average rushing yards per attempt, 3.9 average kind of thing with him. So you got two guys that are average rushing the ball 4+ yards a carry. That's good. Lacy is obviously your number one guy. He also had 42 receptions for 427 yards and 4 touchdowns. Starks chipped in with 18 receptions for 140 yards. So that's another element to your passing game, is when you can find running backs that have good hands that can get the ball out of the backfield, whether it be wheel routes and screens and all that kind of stuff. It allows your offense to be very, very diverse and very unpredictable, and that's what can lead to success and allows them to be successful. So I think their offense can take them to another 12-4 record and take them to the playoffs. It's their defense that has to step up, and I think that's where they're going to go with the draft. They do have the 30th overall pick. I think they'll end up going with a linebacker. Yes, they have Clay Matthews, who last year had 61 combined tackles with 11 sacks, as well as 9 pass deflections, and he's got 61 career sacks. So Clay Matthews is a beast in the linebacking position, but he can't do it all himself. Yes, I know they still have Julius Peppers, who has been in the league for a while, but can still produce. Last year, 44 combined tackles with 7 sacks, as well as 11 pass deflections and 4 forced fumbles. Peppers has 125.5 career sacks, so clearly he's a great veteran to have in your linebacking core, but he can't be in the league forever, so he's going to be retiring sometime soon. And like I said, Clay Matthews can't do it all himself, so you're going to have to find somebody who can step into the linebacking core. In my mock draft, I have them taking McKinney, who's an inside linebacker with their 30th pick. They could take Perriman, or if Thompson or Eli Harold drop down to them, maybe they take one of those guys. I'm thinking it'll be a linebacker. It'll just be which is the best one available at that time. And sometimes when you have a team that's 12-4 and a Super Bowl contending team before the season even starts, they might take the best player available, and if that's a wide receiver, then you take a wide receiver. As crazy as that would sound, that gives you another threat, another option. And it's those kind of positions, like I said with Rodgers when they drafted him, he didn't start right away. So if you draft a young receiver now with your first round pick kind of thing, and he learns from Cobb and Nelson, and then if they decide to leave at free agency time or go to another team or something like that, you have a young guy that can step in. So that's just another thought that I'm going to throw out there is maybe they take a receiver, they just take whatever the best available player is. But I do think it'll be a defensive side of the ball kind of player rather than offense, because I think their offense is set. Looking at their defensive backfield, strong safety Burnett obviously is 130 combined tackles with 4 pass deflections last year. Since 2011, Burnett has had 100 plus combined tackle seasons, except for 2013 where he had 96, but that's because he only played in 13 games. So he's clearly a guy that can find the ball, covers a lot of ground, and can contain that safety position for the next little while. Obviously, with the free safety position, last year they drafted Clinton Dix. Not this past season, 92 combined tackles, 6 pass deflections, so you're solid there, I think. Cornerbacks, they got Hayward and Shields, who last year had 42 combined tackles and 40 combined tackles respectively, and 16 pass deflections between the two of them, as well as 5 picks. So I think your cornerback position is solid as well. Looking onto the line, obviously they re-signed B.J. Raji, who did not play last season because of injury, but they've re-signed him. Neal had 33 combined tackles and 4.5 sacks. Guyen had 32 combined tackles with 3.5 sacks, and then McDaniels had 41 combined tackles with 5.5 sacks. So your team has linebackers that can get to the quarterback, defensive linemen that can get to the quarterback, but I do think they will draft a defensive player, probably a linebacker. So good luck to the Packers this upcoming season. I think they'll have another strong season. 12-4 record I don't think is out of the question. We might see them in the Super Bowl. Thanks again all for watching. You can follow me on Twitter at GHAM614. I'll be talking to you tomorrow about the Milwaukee Bucks of the NBA. Bye.